Hey, what's going on YouTube? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Scattered Brilliancy. My name is Travis and I want to talk today about the MTV documentary White People. It came on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. I'm recording this on a Friday and I didn't get a chance to watch it until Thursday night. And I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that were going on in the documentary, what the documentary was about, what it covered, and my personal opinions on this attempt by MTV. Like I say in a lot of my videos, these are just my opinions. I don't speak for the whole African American black race, whichever one you choose to call it. I don't speak for them, but I do speak for myself. Now, for those who did not watch the documentary was pretty much about shining a light on white people's views on race nowadays. I think we can all agree that race has been the topic of a lot of conversations, especially within the black community, just over the past 3-4 years, kind of since Trayvon Martin, I think kind of is when it all started. And unfortunately, it's only grown since then, with police brutality. That alone has been the reason why race has been talked about a whole lot. Race has always been talked about, but just the police incidents that have been going on is just what keeps it going. And now we have this whole Sandra Bland thing, which I talked about in the Friday Roundup #2. And it's a mess. So I kind of always don't know if I even like discussing race, because I'll tell you why I don't want to talk, why I struggle with what I want to talk, whether I want to talk about it. I'll tell you about that later. So the documentary pretty much interviewed several different white people in America and a couple of other ethnicities, and just talked about white people in America. What I thought was very interesting is that as the documentary started off, we were met with the guy who did the documentary. Let me back up. Was a Pulitzer Prize award winner. His name is Jose Antonio Vargas, and he was pretty much the facilitator for this conversation during the documentary. And I was laying in bed watching it, and then I was just taken aback because originally they started talking about a white student, and I missed the city. They were talking about a white student who chose to go to a historically black college or university. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just started kind of reflecting about my own experiences going to an HBCU and seeing the few number of white students that we had going to my college. I thought about that, and then my college pops up on the screen. And he attended, I don't know if he's graduating now, but he attends my alma mater, Winston-Salem State University. That is where I got my undergraduate degree in art education. So that alone kind of had me like, wait, like I perked up a little bit. Like, I did not even know they were filming this at my school, and they filmed a nice amount on the campus. I mean, the school has changed since I left, but I thought that was pretty interesting. But I thought overall, the documentary did a good job of addressing issues. Now, I don't think there's no documentary long enough to really discuss every single thing that needs to be discussed. And I honestly don't think there will ever be a documentary long enough to do that, nor do I think there'll ever be a documentary that will change the minds of everyone. I do believe that racism is something that will exist from now until forever. I do not, in reality, see us living in a world where all cultures, all people get along, have respect for one another. Even if we don't like each other, have respect for one another, and there is no hatred. I don't see that ever happening. And I may be bad, and it may be wrong for me to think that, but I don't think it'll happen, just because you have two different types of people who I believe race issues kind of come from. You have your group of people who I would say are our younger Americans who kind of are just unaware. White Americans, that is. They're just unaware of the privilege that they naturally have being white, and they're just unaware of really the history and what still goes on every day and the racism that takes place, because in all honesty, they don't have to deal with it. You know what I mean? But then you have another group of white people. And this group has hatred in their hearts. Now, let me stop and say, I'm not saying that white people are only divided into two groups. Let me put that out there. But I was just using that as an example. This particular group instills their hatred views in their children, and more times than not, the children grow up with those hatred views. Now, some change over time, but I do personally believe that racism is not something that just happens. I feel like racism comes from something that is taught, instilled from experience. Speaking on experience, I can't stand the phrase, "I don't see color." I cannot stand that phrase. I hate when I hear people say it because I don't believe that it can ever possibly be true. Because if words mean things, if you don't see color, then like the documentary said, you're colorblind. But even when you're colorblind, you can still see variations of colors. Now, colorblind people can't see the same spectrum of colors that I can, but they can still distinguish, I believe, that this is a darker color and this is a lighter color. So whether you're colorblind or not, you can still see color. Now, there's a difference between I can't see color, I don't see color, and I don't care what your race is. There's a clear difference. Now, if that's how you feel, that you don't care what someone's race is, that doesn't affect the way that you interact with them, say that. Don't say I don't see color, because that's not the truth. You see me, you know that I'm an African American or black male, whatever you choose to call me. You see an Asian person, you know what they are. Certain features are attributed to a certain race or ethnicity, and that's how we identify each other. So everybody sees color. So let me get that out the way. I can't stand when people say that. So, like I was saying, I feel like racism is all based on what's been taught to you, what's been instilled in you, and the experiences that you go through in life. Now, as far as experiences are concerned, I may not have had a direct experience with a particular race, but someone else may have had a particular experience and has told me about that experience. And that now affects the way I see that particular race. In a sense, other people's experience is yours. And people have said that before. Ayanna Van Zandt has said that. Other people's experiences are yours if they're in your circle, in a sense. Because if I'm a black male and I've never really had a real interaction with an Asian male, and I have a brother and he tells me about this horrible experience he had where he felt like he was, what's the word that just left me? Where he was not judged, not discriminated. He felt like he was discriminated against, and just all these bad things about this particular interaction he had with this Asian person. And he comes and tells me, depending on the kind of person I am, I'm going to start to think that all Asians may be this way. So it's going to make me look sideways the next time I see an Asian, or the next time I have that first interaction with an Asian. So I think that that is a key factor that really has affected the way white people view other cultures. Not just black, other cultures. Is white privilege a thing? Of course it is a thing. And the white people who aren't aware that it's a thing, I wouldn't expect you to be, because you're ignorant to so many racial things. Despite the fact that white people weren't the first ones in this particular country that I live in, they, to my knowledge, are the ones in power. So for the people who've been in power for so long, you're just kind of oblivious to the things that everybody else goes through. Why did I say that just now? Oh yeah, white privilege. Sorry, y'all. I was on a field trip today all day. I've been in the sun and I'm a little tired and I'm sweating, so I'm hot. White privilege. Now, of course, white people don't really understand the privilege that they have. They honestly don't have to worry about how people view them. You know, they can walk into a store and not usually be followed around because they may be potentially stealing. You know, they can apply for a job and not have to worry or wonder, should I or should I not put down my race on this application? There's a reason why they make that an option and not a requirement on some employment applications. That's the kind of stuff I, as a black male, have to think about every day. I have to be very cognizant of the interactions and the conversations, the way that I carry myself. I think about that all the time because of the society that we live in. The way that I speak, the way that I walk, I have to be aware of that. I shouldn't, but I am. Because unfortunately, it doesn't seem that all lives equal, all lives matter equally. Not to say that one pair of lives matter a little bit more, but kind of makes it seem like one pair of lives, well, it seems like one set of lives matters less. We'll say that. But I try to speak properly. I try to use correct grammar, correct English when I'm holding conversations with strangers, especially strangers of another culture and another ethnicity than my own, because I don't ever want to come off the wrong way. I do sometimes feel like people fear me. Now, I'm not what the stereotypical black male would be, but I still find myself being very uneasy, very uncomfortable with simple interactions that I have on a daily basis. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, the way we dress, like I said, the way we talk, all of it matters, because you never know what someone is thinking about. You know, that's the scary part of it all. You don't know if someone is racist. You don't know if someone's prejudiced. You don't know if someone hates you just because of the color of your skin. You don't know those kinds of things. And white people really don't have to my knowledge, white people don't really have to worry about that kind of stuff. They can walk in a store, most can walk in a store and not have to worry about whether somebody thinks they're stealing if they don't look or dress like they belong in that type of store, if that makes any sense. Race is such a deep topic. It's such a deep topic, and there are not enough words, there are not enough hours in the day to really express everything when it comes to it. Because unfortunately, it's like we have these situations with the police brutality, going back to that, and you say, okay, well, we're going to rally together, we're going to try to do something to stop this police brutality, to stop these unfortunate circumstances. But in all actuality, there are like 200 plus people who've already been killed by unarmed people, black people, who've been killed by police who we don't hear about. We hear about one or two, but there are hundreds whose names go unheard of. But we're trying to live in a world and feel like we matter and try to make other people feel like we matter. And even in trying to tell people that Black Lives Matter, people then try to tell us we're wrong for saying that Black Lives Matter and say that it should be all lives matter. Well, yeah, it should be all lives matter, but we're not treated as if all lives matter. So we feel like we need to tell y'all that Black lives do matter because y'all not acting like they do. Some of y'all, not all. I don't know. I'm very like, when I have children, I think about how am I going to raise my children? What am I going to teach them? What are the values that I'm going to instill in them in this new world, in this new society? And it's probably not even new. It's just a little different than, you know, there's racism has always been around. Color issues have always been around. Color issues go on today. I work in a school that is pretty much segregated. People don't want to believe it. But you can't tell me that you can have a school that's 99.99998% black and tell me that's not segregation, and say it's just because of these are just the areas that the kids live in and that's why they go to that particular school. But you close down 11 black schools and send those black kids to other black schools and wonder why the schools where am I at? 13 minutes. Overall, I think, I said I was doing a review. I really didn't even talk about the review. I ended up doing a rant. I think that the White People documentary was very, very, very insightful. And it was really good to hear what other white people thought about race. And I loved when there were the white people who were honest and said, let's just be honest and talk about it. No, I don't have to worry about this. Yes, white privilege does exist. And I like that. And I couldn't stand the ones who were just like afraid to say something and just unsure. And I'm at one bar, so hopefully it doesn't cut off. But yeah, I thought the documentary was pretty good. I think that it will cause everybody to rethink the way that they go about things. I think there will be some white people who may have opened their eyes and say, oh, wow. Really, this is going on? Because there hasn't really been a documentary specifically catered to them. It's always dark girls, light girls, all these other cultures. But we really don't talk to white people. And then on top of that, when they ask them, what are you? And they say, I'm white. But what is white? where are you from? That's almost kind of powerful. That's that same conversation I was having some videos back about Black or African American, where do I come from, and all that kind of stuff. As soon as I get me a little bit of money after we finish paying for this wedding, or if I come into some money before then, I'm gonna do a DNA, ancestry, genealogy swab thing, and trace and just see what the results come back as, and I'm gonna document it and see how that goes, just so I can have an idea about where I come from. But y'all, race is a serious topic. I'm not doing a Friday roundup. Too much bad stuff still going on. So, but y'all let me know if y'all saw the White People documentary on MTV. If you haven't, I urge you to go check it out. Somebody put it on YouTube, and I don't know how long it'll actually be up, but I would urge y'all to go and look at it and talk to me about what your thoughts were. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm pretty sure there's so many things that I left out because I'm not the type of person who takes notes. I like everything to just be organic when I'm talking on these videos. So, yeah. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm past 15 minutes. So, thank y'all so much for watching this kind of unreview of White People. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe, rate, comment, please, so I can hear what you really think and all of that kind of stuff. You can follow me on Instagram now at Scattered Brilliancy. I'm going to start an Instagram specifically for my YouTube channel. That way, I guess it'll be a little bit easier for me to communicate with y'all. So, look me up on Instagram. Follow me. That's Scattered Brilliancy, SCATTERBRILLIANCY. It's a lot. Follow me on there. Y'all take it easy. Be safe. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Thank you. And I'll be seeing y'all soon. Peace.